What if I told you there exists a note so incredibly high, so profoundly powerful, and so extraordinarily dangerous, that it possesses the frightening capability to actually break a singer's voice? It certainly sounds like the stuff of myth, doesn't it? A legend whispered in the shadowed wings of historic theaters, and the hushed backstage corridors of the world's most prestigious concert halls. But this is not a ghost story, nor is it a work of fiction. This is a story about the unyielding laws of physics. And for some of the world's most beloved and famous singers, this so-called impossible note became a truly devastating, career-altering reality. The human voice is, quite possibly, the most fragile and delicate instrument on the entire planet, an intricate, miraculous combination of muscle and tissue that can be trained to create the most beautiful, soul-stirring sounds imaginable. But like any fine instrument, when it is pushed too far beyond its intended limits, it can, and sometimes does, snap. So what truly happens when a world-class singer gambles their entire career, their very identity, on a single, forbidden frequency? Let's embark on a journey to explore the shocking, true stories and uncover the fascinating science behind the legendary note that possesses the power to shatter the human voice. Section 1. The physics of a fragile instrument. Before we can delve into the dramatic stories of voices lost, we must first deeply understand the instrument itself. Your voice isn't some form of magic, though it can often feel that way. It is a biological machine of breathtaking complexity. To simplify this, think of it as being composed of three fundamental parts: the fuel, the source, and the resonator. The fuel is simply your breath, the column of air that travels up from your lungs. This is the power supply, the engine that drives the entire vocal process. The source of the sound is your vocal cords, or, to be more scientifically accurate, your vocal folds. These are two small, incredibly sensitive bands of muscle located in your larynx, which vibrate with astonishing speed as air passes through them. The faster they vibrate, the higher the pitch of the note you produce. Slower vibrations result in a lower pitch. On the surface, it seems simple enough. However, the raw sound that emanates directly from your vocal folds is, in reality, just a quiet, unassuming, buzzy noise. The real magic, the creation of your unique vocal identity, happens in the resonator. Your resonator is the network of your throat, your mouth, and your nasal passages. Just as the hollow wooden body of a guitar takes the faint sound of its vibrating strings and amplifies it into a loud, rich, and resonant tone, your vocal tract shapes that initial buzz into your unique voice, giving it distinctive color, character, and power. This amazing phenomenon is called resonance. Resonance is the ultimate secret to achieving a powerful, commanding voice. It's that sought-after feeling when a note just clicks into place, effortlessly filling an auditorium. Skilled singers dedicate their lives to learning how to minutely change the shape of their vocal tract, their throat, their jaw, their tongue, to achieve the maximum amount of resonance, which makes their voice bigger, richer, and far more efficient. But this is precisely where the danger lies. You've surely seen that classic, almost cliché video, haven't you? A singer sustains a pure note that matches the resonant frequency of a delicate wine glass. In a physical sense, your vocal tract is no different from that wine glass. As a singer ascends higher and higher, the air pressure in their throat can fall out of sync. The physical effort required to produce sound, scientists refer to this as the acoustic load. Pushing past that wall demands a dangerous, often damaging amount of physical force. Resonance can transform into a destructive, formidable enemy. It is the moment they attempt the impossible note. Sometimes, the very instrument they rely on for their art is the thing that breaks under strain. For many decades, one particular voice was widely considered to be the epitome of vocal perfection: the voice of Julie Andrews. From her star-making, iconic role in My Fair Lady on Broadway to her unforgettable, Oscar-winning performance as Mary Poppins. It was a pristine, legendary lyric soprano with a crystal-clear, 3-octave range that seemed to just soar effortlessly. She was a true master of her biological instrument, celebrated for her flawless technique and crystalline tone. But in the year 1997, While performing in the vocally demanding Broadway production of Victoria*, Andrews began to experience a persistent hoarseness. Her physicians soon discovered non-cancerous nodules on her vocal cords. Vocal nodules are, in essence, calluses that form on the delicate vocal folds as a result of repeated, forceful impact over a long period. They tend to form right at the point where the collision force is strongest, causing the cords to become stiff. The immediate and audible result is a hoarse, breathy, or raspy sound quality. Andrews was assured that a routine procedure would remove the nodules and restore her voice to its former glory. But when she woke up, she discovered that her singing voice was gone. The surgery had not just removed the nodules, it had caused extensive, irreversible scarring and catastrophic damage. Her once crystal-clear range, the voice that had captivated millions, was now reduced to a fragile rasp. The physics behind this tragedy is brutal and unforgiving. Healthy vocal folds are remarkably flexible and supple, capable of vibrating hundreds, even thousands, of times per second with precision. Scar tissue, by its very nature, is stiff, thick, and inflexible. The botched surgery had robbed her vocal folds of their fundamental ability to produce sound properly. A subsequent examination by another doctor revealed that portions of her vocal cord tissue were simply gone, making any hope of ever fully restoring her legendary singing voice a heartbreaking impossibility. Julie Andrews' story is perhaps the most tragic and profound cautionary tale in the entire singing world. It wasn't a single, dramatic, impossible note that brought an end to her singing career, but rather the cumulative, built-up stress from thousands of demanding performances. The final, devastating blow, however, came not from a challenging song, but from a surgeon's knife. As she so poignantly put it, her very identity was lost overnight. The line between a perfect performance and a career-ending injury is terrifyingly thin. It is a precarious tightrope that every single singer walks every time they perform. But what happens when the injury isn't the result of long-term wear and tear, but from one single, explosive, high-pressure moment? Coming up next is the story of a modern superstar whose incredible, raw power led to a sudden, traumatic vocal event. In the 21st century, few voices have been as recognizable and powerful as that of Adele. Her signature sound is built upon a foundation of raw, emotional force, a specific style known as belting, that can shake a stadium. But that incredible kind of power always comes with a significant physical price. The louder and higher you sing, the more violently your vocal folds collide with each other. This phenomenon is known in medical terms as phonal trauma, a physical injury caused by the production of your own voice. In 2011, at the absolute zenith of her global fame, Adele abruptly canceled a series of tour dates, revealing to the world that she was suffering from a vocal cord hemorrhage. The same issue struck again in 2017, after she had completed 121 straight shows on a massive, grueling world tour. She described in a heartfelt letter to her fans how she had to push far harder than she normally would during 2 sold-out shows at London's Wembley Stadium. A subsequent trip to her doctor confirmed the worst. She had damaged her vocal cords yet again and was forced to cancel the remaining, highly anticipated dates of the tour. So, what exactly is a vocal hemorrhage? Put simply, it's a burst blood vessel on the surface of a vocal fold. Think of a common bruise on your arm or leg. A vocal hemorrhage is essentially the same principle, but it's occurring on the delicate, vibrating surface that is responsible for creating your voice. Blood seeps from the ruptured vessel into the soft tissue, making the vocal fold heavy, swollen, and stiff. This physical change immediately stops it from vibrating properly, leading to sudden, severe hoarseness or, in some cases, a complete and total loss of voice. This type of injury is most often acute, meaning it is the direct result of a single, traumatic event, like a fit of violent coughing, a scream of shock, or, in Adele's case, singing with an incredible and sustained amount of force. Her signature powerhouse sound requires an immense amount of subglottic air pressure generated from the lungs. Unleashing that torrent of pressure to hit those huge, emotionally charged notes creates a level of collision force that puts the tiny, delicate blood vessels on the vocal folds at extreme risk of rupturing. In 2011, she underwent sophisticated laser microsurgery to cauterize the bleeding vessel and repair the damage. Adele's story serves as a perfect, modern illustration of the physics of power. Unlike the slow, gradual buildup of nodules from repetitive strain, a hemorrhage is an explosion. It is the voice literally breaking under the immense pressure required to create such a massive, emotionally resonant sound. She pushed her biological instrument to its absolute physical limit, and for a moment, it snapped. So, after all this, what is this impossible note? Is it a tangible, real thing, like a specific high C that lies in wait like a predator to destroy an unsuspecting singer's career? The truth is both far more complex and far more personal than that. The impossible note isn't a single frequency on a piano keyboard that is universally dangerous for all. It is, instead, a personal threshold. It is the precise, unique point for each individual singer where the physics of their own body turns against them. For one singer, that impossible note might be a stratospherically high soprano note that demands so much muscular tension that their vocal folds simply cannot physically vibrate that fast anymore. For another, it's a powerfully belted note in their mid-range where the subglottic pressure becomes so great that a fragile blood vessel finally bursts. For yet another person, it's the note they consistently sing with subtly poor technique that, after thousands upon thousands of repetitions, builds the friction that slowly cultivates a career-threatening nodule. The impossible note, therefore, is simply the critical moment where the demand you place on your voice exceeds its natural, physical capacity for a sustained period. It's the breaking point where the combined forces of muscular collision and pneumatic pressure become too overwhelming for the delicate, soft tissues of the vocal folds to safely handle. It is a note that is forbidden not by myth or legend, but by the unyielding, inescapable laws of biology and physics. Every single singer has a different body, a different level of training, and therefore, different physical limits. The profound tragedy is that most only discover precisely where that limit is when it is far too late. The voice is not just an abstract concept or a metaphysical expression of the soul. It is a physical instrument, as real and tangible as a Stradivarius violin, but infinitely more personal and irreplaceable. It is a complex system of muscle, tissue, cartilage, and air, all working together in a delicate, beautiful dance with the fundamental laws of physics. The stories of world-class singers like Julie Andrews and Adele are not just pieces of celebrity gossip. They are powerful, resonant cautionary tales written in the language of science and anatomy. They teach us that incredible artistic power often comes at a steep physical price, that perfection is fragile, and that pushing beyond our innate physical limits has real, tangible, and often devastating consequences. Understanding the science behind the voice doesn't take the magic out of music. On the contrary, it deepens our appreciation for it. It is about respecting the profound complexity of the human instrument. This knowledge is the key to ensuring that the voices that move us, inspire us, and define our culture can continue singing for a lifetime. The impossible note will always be there, a siren song on the horizon, tempting artists to push just a little bit harder, to reach a little bit higher. But with knowledge and respect for the instrument, it doesn't have to be the end of the song. Which singer's story shocks you the most? Let us know in the comments below. That note isn't just difficult, it's dangerous. It doesn't have to be the highest or loudest. It's the one that hides in plain sight. The one that exposes every flaw. The one that has broken even the strongest voices when the world was watching. Because in opera, the real threat isn't just range, it's raw vulnerability. So tell us, have you heard a singer survive it? Or collapse under its weight? Down finger drop your thoughts in the comments. And for more shocking truths, legendary collapses, and the hidden traps behind opera's most iconic moments, right finger subscribe to Opera Brownn, where every aria tells the truth.